Hey everybody, David here, and today I want to do my video of my predictions of the movies that are going to be in the worldwide box office, the top 10 of 2020. I've been doing this since 2017. I've been making predictions and then seeing how my predictions match up with the actual worldwide box office of what I think is going to make the top 10. I'm not predicting how much money they'll make because that makes it so much more harder than it already is. But I do want to do it this way where see what 10 movies I think will make the top 10. And usually some of them I get right, not in the order that I predict, but that's always the fun part. Sometimes I'll get one or two exactly right, usually the top two. I'll say this, for 2019, that hasn't come to pass. The top two are definitely wrong. But 2020 is a whole new different year, and I'm going to say this one was even harder because all of the movies this year are hard to predict what's going to be in the top 10 and what's going to be number one or number two because I have no real clue. These are just guesses. These are just for fun. As for my 2019 reveals, I'll be revealing that like at the end of January, early February. I just want to see where Star Wars looks like it's going to land in the worldwide box office. And when it slows down and we get an idea of where it's going to be at, then I'll do that video. But for now, here are my predictions for 2020. Let's get at it. Number 10, I have Fast and the Furious 9. Some people are probably surprised, like, why is it all the way down here? Because a couple of them have made $1 billion. Let's remember, this one does not have The Rock in it. Hobbs and Shaw also didn't make $1 billion at the worldwide box office, last I checked anyways. So it made it close, but no cigar. And I think taking out The Rock from the Fast and the Furious movie, this one, Fast and the Furious 9, I think is going to hurt it a little bit. Not too badly. I think the franchise will still survive, but not enough to crack the top 5, unfortunately. Next, I have at number 9, Onward, Pixar's newest film. Pixar, I think, usually makes it in the top 10. People love their work. I think it's very rare when a Pixar movie doesn't make the top 10. So Onward, I think, will make it. I think there's another Pixar movie, which I'll mention later, that I think will get a little bit higher. Moving on to number 8, I have Godzilla vs. Kong. I think pushing it back to November or December, I think I checked. Other than that, I think Kong vs. Godzilla is still going to do pretty good in the box office, or at least I'm hoping it will. I tried to take my personal bias off this list on what I'm hoping movies will do and what I think they'll do. So hopefully my eagerness to see this movie doesn't... I hope a lot of people are still excited about this movie. That's what I'm trying to say, like I am. So... Hoping. Number 7, I have No Time to Die. I mean, James Bond has to get up in the top 10, right? Skyfall did really... I think Skyfall did the best so far. Casino Royale. I think Quantum of Solace did okay. I don't remember if it made the top 10. But Spectre, did Spectre make the top 10? I don't remember. But... you'd have to think also with Spectre, that kind of brought it down a little bit. But if this is Daniel Craig's last time as James Bond, you'd think that some people would be really excited to check it out, no? I don't know. I don't know what the younger crowd thinks about, the teenage crowd think about James Bond nowadays. Back in 2006, when Casino Royale was coming out, I was, in my 20s, mid to early 20s? Yeah, early 20s. That's when I got into Bond. And now here we are over 10 years later, about 14 years later, after Casino Royale, and I just don't know what people in their mid-20s or younger think about James Bond. So are they still feeling like I did, where I wanted to get into Bond and that was my jumping in point, or do they not care? I have no idea. So that's why I'm putting No Time to Die at 7. So number 6, I have Ghostbusters Afterlife. I really love the trailer. I don't know. I've seen a lot of positivity about this one so far, but you'll never know. And again, with Ghostbusters, is similar to James Bond, where I don't know what the younger crowd thinks of Ghostbusters. A lot of hardcore movie fans consider the original Ghostbusters a classic when it comes to film, but I just don't know what the younger crowd thinks. Have they gone back and seen the original Ghostbusters? Another thing is the 2016 Ghostbusters film hurt it a little bit. I have no idea. This movie seems to be getting the tone back on track, so I'm hoping that people will embrace it and be excited for it. We'll see. Number 5, I have Soul. That's right. This is the Pixar movie I was talking about earlier. I think Soul is going to do really well in the worldwide box office, and I have a feeling it will be that Pixar film like Inside Out or Coco that's going to make people cry, and people love that when that comes from Pixar, and I think this will be that movie, and that's why it will be pushed higher than Onward. I think Onward could be a teary one too, from what I heard from people who saw a sneak preview, 10-minute sneak preview at I think it was Disney D23. From what I heard, there's some tear-worthy moments. But I think Soul is going to beat it. I just have a feeling from the premise of that movie. So, moving on to number 4, I have The Eternals. If you look at the last couple of Marvel films since Black Panther, all of them have made $1 billion. I think only Ant-Man and the Wasp was the only one to not make it that high. It still did good, but not as good as the rest of them since Black Panther. So Black Panther, Infinity War, Spider-Man Far From Home, Captain Marvel, Avengers Endgame, 5 films in the last 2 years have done really well. And I think Eternals is going to be like Guardians of the Galaxy, where it's going to be this unknown franchise with unknown characters that people have know nothing about. But I think that's what will draw people. Like, okay, they proved to us with all these other characters we don't know. Let's go give this one a shot too, and I think it will make it to the top 5 for sure. Moving on to number 3, I have Black Widow. I think lots of people, if it wasn't for that trailer, I don't think this movie would be this high on my prediction list. But I think a lot of people were really won over by that trailer, and people, I think, are more excited now about Black Widow. And Scarlett Johansson is a great actress. I think she draws in a crowd. I think she is one of the... I don't think star power is as strong as it used to be, like it was in the 80s and 90s. But I do believe that people do like her as this character. And if this is her last final hurrah as the character, I think it's going to do pretty well. Number 2 on my list, I have Wonder Woman 1984. The first Wonder Woman did really well. These next 2 movies, Wonder Woman and the next one, I wasn't sure which to put over the other. But there's a gut feeling that tells me Wonder Woman 1984 could be number 1. But I'm going to leave it at number 2 for now. I really hope this movie is one of the 2 that make $1 billion this year, because Wonder Woman number 1 I think deserves it. But then again, it depends on what the movie turns out to be, because if the movie gets divisive reviews, which I don't think it will, because Patty Jenkins is directing it and she did such a great job with the last Wonder Woman film. I'm rooting for this movie. I hope it proves me wrong and makes it to number 1, because I would love it if DC finally has a huge home run with this one. The last Wonder Woman movie did $800 million. Usually if people are excited for another one, it goes up. So I think this one will go up. If Aquaman can make $1 billion, Wonder Woman should easily make $1 billion, because Wonder Woman was better than Aquaman, let's face it. I liked Aquaman, I thought it was fine, but if I were to compare Aquaman to the first Wonder Woman film, I think Wonder Woman was the better movie, and I think Wonder Woman 1984 will be still better than Aquaman, or at least I'm hoping. Finally, my number 1 choice that I think is going to be the number 1 movie of 2020, and I could be wrong because it could be the second most, is Mulan. I think people are really excited for this live-action version of Mulan. I think the trailer is doing what it needs to do. I think it's going to stay somewhat true to the original animated film, but add some new elements. And I think this has potential to be the best Disney live-action remake so far, because of how people are reacting to the trailers so far. People seem to really be loving the trailers. And hopefully the movie lives up to the hype. I know there's some people out there that are getting tired of these live action remakes, but if they are doing good, and if people like me are enjoying them, I think they'll do, as long as they're not like The Lion King, where they're an exact copy, which obviously this movie is not going to be because there's a witch in this one. I think the movie is going to do, and they don't have Mushu. I think the movie is going to do really good. So I think it will be like Aladdin and Beauty and the Beast. I think it will make a lot of money because Mulan was one of the most successful 2D animated films to hit the box office for Disney. So, with that being said, guys, that was my prediction of the top 10 movies that are going to be in the worldwide box office of 2020. Next year, we'll see if I'm right or wrong on how many of them. Believe me, I always keep track of this. I actually just made a playlist of all those videos. So maybe I'll put that in the link if you want to check them all and see how right or wrong I was in the past. Yeah, with that being said, I think that's it. So I hope you guys like this video. Please subscribe to my channel. And until next time, take care.